just so everyone can have this info. Again, welcome back. I hope everyone's having a great school year. I'm Ashley. I think I know pretty much everyone at this point. I am the Unified Champions Schools Manager for what we call Region 6. So Special Olympics PA has moved towards a regionalization model. We have 9 regions across the state at this point in time. We do not have an official title for our region, but it is basically the greater Philadelphia area. So there is regional staff that operate as a team in 9 regions across the state. So this year you will probably start seeing more documents or things titled as Region 6. Basically, that just means the 5 counties that make up Region 6: Bucks, Montgomery, Delaware, Chester, and Philadelphia. For our UCS purposes, Philadelphia County isn't necessarily part of our grouping. They operate under a separate UCS programming, but in the bigger scheme of things, they are technically part of Region 6. Those of you in Bucks County worked with Shannon Burke last year. Shannon is no longer with Special Olympics PA, so I am back to covering all 4 counties, Bucks, Montgomery, Delaware, and Chester.
There and just hear it through here.
You good, buddy? Yeah, so I am back to covering Bucks County. I previously covered Bucks County. We had given it to someone else last year. Like I said, she's no longer with Special Olympics PA, so I'm back to covering all 4 counties. It is about 67 schools at the moment altogether. We are looking to hire a part-time stipend position to help if you know anybody interested in a cool part-time job. But I do ask that you bear with me in the meantime, as it is just me managing all 4 counties. But you guys have always been great. I'm happy to have Bucks County back. Some awesome schools out there. Okay. Tom, yeah, some good schools in Bucks. All right. For some reason, some of my pictures have decided not to load today. It's, you know, one of those days. That being said, this housekeeping slide is supposed to say basically we're recording this so anybody who can't attend can watch it. Nothing in this is top secret. Please share with other people at your school, other staff, athletic director, principals, and yeah, feel free to ask any questions if you want to drop anything in the chat. If you have questions that are specific to like directly for your school, like something that's happening at Cheltenham, say, I just ask that you wait until the end and we can discuss any specific questions you guys may have then. All right. Oh, now the bubbles are popping up.
I was looking for the.
It's recorded. Keep yourself on mute. We'll share the information. Ask questions.
But I got the line. Yeah, go ahead. Got it.
Someone is not muted. I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna ask if you aren't muted that you please mute yourself. Thank you. So again, I'm Ashley. Steph Taylor is on today to help out. Yeah, that's who's here today. We did introductions already. The other topics we're going to briefly cover today is UCS in Pennsylvania, the 3 components and requirements of UCS, our plans and expectations for this year, some info on local Special Olympics programs, our focus for the fall, and save the dates. And then again, at the end, we can touch on any questions anybody has. All right, just the quick overview of upcoming dates. We're going to go into each one a little bit more, but just so you have them, the biggest upcoming dates, are for youth summits. We are back at the same 2 locations as last year, Valley Forge Military Academy in Radnor and the new town campus of Bucks County Community College. You don't have to attend both, but we do ask that all schools attend one of them. They both run from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The one at Valley Forge Military Academy, we moved to October 25th. There was a conflict with the local Best Buddies event on the same day that would take out a good number of schools. So that one is on the 25th. Registration is due by the 16th. If you're having issues with admin getting field trips approved, need more information, worried about meeting the deadline, just send me an email or call or text, let me know. And then again, our other one at Bucks County Community College is on November 2nd. Registration for that one is due by the 19th. We also will have in-person bocce coaches training in late October to mid-November. This is primarily for new bocce coaches, but anyone is welcome to attend. So if yeah, anyone is welcome to attend. But if you want a refresher to go over the rules, a reminder of how things work, anybody will be welcome to attend those. They will be in person. More info will be coming. One of the other things that's up and running right now is our Cool Schools Plunge. Well, fundraising in general for Cool Schools, which will go into more info. But for those of you interested in attending the plunge in person, it is back at Citizens Bank Park again this year on February 9th. And we will also talk a little bit about Special Olympics community sports. That registration is ongoing at this moment. But again, we will talk about that on this slide. So what we really want to see happen with our UCS athletes and partners is that they get involved in sports in their community. So in Special Olympics PA, we have two umbrellas. We have our Unified Champion Schools, and then we have what we call community programming. We want to really merge them together. We want to see athletes in both. Athletes that participate and partners in Special Olympics for their school are also eligible to participate in Special Olympics in their community. And what's cool about our community is there's way more options of sports involved. It's not just bocce and track. There's swimming, horseback riding, gymnastics, golf, skiing, snowboarding, powerlifting. We have a whole range of sports offered in the community here in Region 6. There are registration dates that are set. So technically the winter sport registration ended at the beginning of this month, but it is ongoing. That doesn't mean we stop and don't let somebody sign up after September 1st. I'm going to send out this information to you. Oops. Oh my goodness. Sorry. October 5th. I'm a mess today. Tom. Tom is one of our coaches in the community as well in Bucks County. Athlete registration is open till October 15th. I was looking at the wrong tab. It's Thursday, but it feels like a Monday. So yes, that is still open. And then spring signups will be coming. We want athletes to participate in both to continue to make Special Olympics lifelong for them. There is never any fees, never any cost associated with Special Olympics in the community. Practices are at different sites in the community. Sometimes they're at schools. Skiing, for example, they practice at Spring Mountain in Montgomery County. There's an equestrian site in Montgomery County at Sebastian's. There's a whole range. I will be sending this information out, and we just ask that you share this. There'll be a link that athletes and partners can click to sign up. Or if you're interested in coaching, we're always looking for coaches in the community. We really just want to see athletes continue to be healthy, and stay active outside of school and after they graduate. So we just ask that you share this information with parents, let them know that it's available, especially when they graduate. You know, Special Olympics doesn't have to stop after you graduate high school. It continues on. All right, a little bit about UCS by the numbers. For this school year, we currently have 337 active schools across the state. We have started branching out to middle and elementary school programming across the state. We have a handful of middle and elementary schools in southeastern PA right now. A couple different school districts, Souderton's one, Unionville's one. At the middle and elementary school level, it is a recreational program, so they are playing within their own school. There's no competitions or anything along those lines scheduled. If it's a district like, say, Unionville has elementary, middle, high school, if within the district wanted to do something where the different teams come together from different buildings, that's awesome. Those are just on the school. We don't schedule any sort of competitions for our middle and elementary schools. It's a recreational in-house, but it's a great way to start inclusion at an early age. Do you have any questions about that, or like, hey, does my district have this, or I'm interested in getting this in my district? Let me know. Can always touch base about that. We have over 5,000 participants across the state. That's athletes and partners combined. Last year, we put on 567 competitions total, and 73% of all schools managed to hit all three components, which we will talk about. And for this school year, we currently have 14 staff across the state that just manage UCS operations. So we have definitely grown and expanded. The program continues to grow. Here in southeastern PA, we are adding Upper Moreland High School and Owen J. Roberts High School. got some other prospect schools in the works, but those two are confirmed. And Shadsford Elementary School is also joining us this year as well. Just a reminder, the 3 components of UCS. I know the biggest one that we seem to see the most is the sports piece. That is the one we tend to do the best with. That's our unified track and our unified bocce. But there are those other 2 components that are just as important as well. Inclusive youth leadership, that's basically the fancy term for a unified club. Some of you have a already existing Best Buddies club. Some of you have a unified student council club. Some of you have a PALS club. What we really like to see is co-leadership. That's not something that's always seen in Best Buddies, but something that we like to bring to the table. So co-leadership would be having 2 presidents, one one who's a partner and one who's an athlete. 2 vice presidents, one who's an athlete, one who's a partner, etc. So that is a little bit, that's the second component, that unified club. And they're really the ones who take the lead in planning our third component, which is whole school engagement. We ask that all schools do 3 whole school engagements annually. Some examples of that are cool schools activities, so the plunge, pop, rain rallies. Fans in the stands, this is something you probably already do without even realizing. This is having fans of different sports teams, other clubs come to your home matches, home meets, and watch. And then the Spread the Word campaign, which we do in the spring. But you can do any sort of whole school engagement. Those are just some examples. But these, all 3 components are what make up a unified champion school. I know, like I said, a lot of focus tends to be on sports. We really want to try to grow our youth leadership this year and see some stronger numbers and stronger clubs there. There are 3, I know everybody's favorite, the surveys. There are 3 surveys that are mandatory of unified champion schools. 2 of them come out at the same time, and it's very confusing every year. In the middle of the year, we do a mid-year report. That is in January, and then we do it again at the end of the year. So the mid-year and end-of-year report are where we have to put in all of our numbers, and that information is reported directly to SONA, Special Olympics North America. Those numbers show how we are doing as a state, and it also ties directly to funding. It is extremely important that these surveys are filled out. The other survey that comes out in April conflicts with end of year. I know it gets confusing. Sometimes people do one survey and they're like, I already did it. There's 2. UMass is a research study. This is the one that takes longer. It takes at least a half an hour to fill out. I know this one is longer, but this one also reports to SONA, and the University of Massachusetts oversees this one. So there are 3 surveys that are required each year. You only need 1 person to fill it out per school. You can work together. So if you have 2 coaches and 2 club advisors, all 4 of you don't need to fill it out. You can work together to just have 1 person entering the information. But these are the 3 required surveys each year. Cool schools. So like I said, the term cool schools is just a general broad term for fundraising. In the past, we've traditionally offered 3 different options of cool schools. We've offered the in-person plunge. That's the one that's at Citizens Bank Park. We've offered a polar pop. That's the one with the water balloons. You can do it at school. People can do it at home. That's the popping water balloons over someone's head. And then we've done the rain rally, which schools have also done in the area. Like this was Penridge's, where students are running through sprinklers, water that's set up by the fire department. They pay to participate, you raise money. We also want to make sure that schools understand that they also have a 4th option. If your school does a different fundraiser, something on your own, an ice bucket challenge, some sort of like combo football game, and you're raising funds that way, that is totally fine. You do not have to participate in one of the plunge pop options. You can do your own fundraisers as well. But all of that needs to be registered on the Cool Schools page. So even if you're not doing a pop, a plunge, or a rally, you still need to register your school on that site so your money can be submitted that way and we can keep track of it for revenue. Like I said, again, the plunge this year is back at Citizens Bank Park. It's February 9th for those interested in coming in person. It is a lot of fun day of. It's a blast. Kids get to see teachers and administrators jump into the pool. It's freezing. But it's a fun day. Kids get out of school for a couple hours. Always enjoy that. Again, we're asking this year that all returning schools fundraise a minimum of $1,000. If you are a school that offers both bocce and track and field, the minimum fundraising for that is $1,800. That covers the cost, helps cover the cost of both sports. Again, Special Olympics PA is a nonprofit, so we thrive on grants and fundraising. Fundraising is how we continue to operate, how we continue to fund our current schools, and how we continue to bring on more schools. So it is super important that schools do participate in fundraising. Again, you don't have to do one of the 3 winter options. You can do your own sort of fundraising as well, but you still need to register on the Cool Schools page. I will be sending that link out. There is a specific link if you are coming to the in-person plunge. This gets confusing every year. There's also a page for the general Philadelphia plunge. So we have a community plunge that's the next day on February 10th. There is a different fundraising page for that. Sometimes schools sign up on that page and it just gets messy on the back end. It's hard to keep track of revenue. It's hard to organize shirts and that sort of thing for day of. So please make sure that when you are signing up, you are signing up on the Cool Schools page. Again, I'm going to send that link out, but I know sometimes people start Googling, they type in the plunge, and you might end up on the community page when you want to be on the schools page. Again, this is a lot of information, and if you have any questions, we can definitely touch base on them at the end. This is just a quick year at a glance, what you can expect from UCS. We spent a lot of time this summer updating our resources, our guidebooks for both sports, for youth leadership. You can continue to expect in-person competitions, continue to expect, obviously, youth summits. We are always trying to do better at communication, sending monthly newsletters, during the seasons for bocce and track, sending sport-specific information. And we have also finally updated our website. It is live, so Special Olympics PA's website as a whole is being revamped, and we've been able to update the UCS page as well. So there is plenty of information on there also. Yes, I will definitely email this PowerPoint to everyone after this is over. So you will get a copy of it, no worries. Okay. So our goals for this year, we are adding 85 new schools across the state. The goal is to have 550 schools across the state by the end of 2025. We want all schools to operate at all 3 components fully. So the sports, the club, youth leadership. Like I mentioned, we really are focusing on youth leadership this year across the state. That is going to be the big focus at Youth Summits this year, is youth leadership, really empowering students as leaders, helping them find their voice, speak up, lead events across the school. We also want to continue to improve the experience for liaisons and coaches as well. Again, our focus for the fall, like I said, is really about clubs. So make sure your club is meeting at least once a month, ideally twice a month. Start planning your first whole school engagement. It's also time to identify the 4 students to come to Youth Summit, which we'll talk about on the next slide. And if you are a bocce school, now is the time to start recruiting. Physicals are available, and we'll talk about that a little bit more as well. Just basics on getting your club activated. If you don't have a club, no worries. We're going to talk at Youth Summit on ways to get and make and create a club if you don't have one. Again, make sure you're meeting at least 1 to 2 times a month. Start planning those full school engagements. And remember, we have 3 major reports a year. You can always reach out with questions, comments, concerns. Again, for Youth Summits, they are at Valley Forge Military Academy again, and at Bucks County Community College. Like I said earlier, it's really a time to teach students leadership skills. We want them to walk away from Youth Summit with a plan, have an action plan ready to go, how they're going to implement different activities back at their school. It also gives students and you as an adult an opportunity to interact with teachers and liaisons from other schools, find out what they're doing, share ideas, brainstorm, troubleshoot. So that's what you can expect from Youth Summits. Our theme for Youth Summit this year is Join the Ride, Unified. So there's like an amusement carnival theme park to our Youth Summit this year. As a reminder, you can bring 4 students, 2 athletes, and 2 partners. These need to be some of your top student leaders. So students who are able to be fairly independent, can communicate with other students. We prefer that you bring underclassmen so they can come back to school and continue to implement the ideas that they've learned in the next couple of years. And you can also bring up to 2 adults with you. So if you have 2 coaches or if you have a coach and a liaison, however it works for your school, we do ask that 2 adults attend with 4 students. There's also specific information in the registration form, the Google form for Youth Summits on how to help select which students you should bring. Again, for bocce, we are kicking off very soon in about 2 months. Practices can begin as early as November 17th. That is the same start date as PIAA winter sports. Rosters will be due on December 4th. Competitions can begin as early as December 11th. So those are some important dates to remember. Again, we'll be sending this info out in email as well. But definitely the time to start talking to students about getting their physicals. They have to have their physical done by December 4th. That's when your roster is due. We also have a Special Olympics PA participation waiver that all students have to fill out. We've talked about the participation waiver in the past. It is a little bit different this year. It's going to be the same process for track schools as well. Before, I would have to hunt you down and send you emails and say, X, Y, and Z filled out the waiver, X, Y, and Z didn't fill out the waiver. Even if students in the past didn't fill out the waiver, sometimes things slip through the cracks, they were still on the roster. This year, in order for your roster to work, students and or their parents have to fill out the waiver. We are going to have a specific training on this, and we'll go into more detail at Youth Summit, but you will not be able to plug names into your roster on your own like you've done in the past. Names will auto-populate as they fill out the waiver. So no one's name will show up until they have filled out this waiver. Like I've said, we have struggled in the past to get students across the board to fill out the waiver, and it is a requirement. It's something we need for liability purposes. A waiver has to be filled out. So it's going to be a Google form that'll look a little bit like this. You will send it home to parents, and we will share, we will share it with all of you. And then they have to fill it out, and that's how your roster will start populating. For those of you in bocce and track too, you'll be able to manipulate your roster, so you'll be able to designate which team you want students on, but you cannot add students to your roster. It's only going to show up when they fill out the waiver. Again, we will have a specific training on this. I know it's new. It's going to be a similar process for track as well. And again, just going over the dates, the youth summits, the registration for the Youth Summit at Valley Forge Military Academy is due October 16th, and the summit is the 25th. The registration for Bucks County Community College is due the 19th, and the summit is on the 2nd of November. And bocce season begins November 17th. That is not the date of our plunge. I apologize, but that is when bocce season starts. So those are important dates for the season. At this point in time, I'm going to stop talking. I am going to go back so these dates are up. I am going to, if my toolbar will come up, stop the recording.